Hey, do you stress out when you need to order wine at a restaurant? I'm here to tell you it doesn't need to be that complex. Here are 5 things to make it a little simpler. Thank you, Monty. All right, welcome back to Drinking It In. I am your host, Chris Casara, and we are here to help you know more and drink better. And Monty has just sat right on the piece of paper that has my notes about the 5 things that are going to make your wine experience in restaurants easier. A lot of people get stressed out when they have to order wine at a restaurant, when you have to navigate a wine list, when you have to deal with all the pomp and circumstance that is ordering wine in a restaurant. I mean, we've made it way too complicated. It's become this, thing that you've got to do the right way. And I'm here to tell you, you don't have to get stressed out about ordering wine in a restaurant. There are people there that are going to help you, and there are some just basic bits of etiquette that you should be that you should observe. Yeah, put into practice. It makes it easier. So number one, just relax, right? We're not curing cancer here, as my wife likes to say, when, just in terms of, our daily jobs. Neither of us are curing cancer. So why should we get stressed out about ordering a wine, picking the right wine, when, it should be a fun experience. It should be a great part of the dining out experience. I do want you to get out of your comfort zone, but that doesn't mean that you've got to be stressed out when ordering wine. I think number 2, just when you're talking to the sommelier, to your server, just use real language, right? You don't have to get into technicalities. Nobody care, you don't have to care about how a wine is made, whether it's got lots of tannins, and use a lot of wine terms, right? Use terms to describe wines that you like that are just, real world. Do you like fruity wines, juicy wines? Do you like wines that are oaky, right? These types of terms, the more that you put them out there, along, as a description of wines that you would like, the better advice you'll get, or the better conversation you'll have with the people who are taking care of you. So number 3 is you don't always have to be the one making the decision, right? If you are at a loss, right, and there's just too much going on, either, at your table, or too much, the list is too big, right? Rely on the sommelier or the staff of the restaurant, because they should have been trained, right, to navigate customers through the restaurant's wine list. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, listen, we like big, fruity red wines that aren't too spicy. What would you recommend? What's your favorite on the list? And, and that's the type of thing, like a lot of times I'll do is kind of rely on the opinion of the professional that is serving you, because they should have a lot of experience with the wines on the list. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I guess number 4, right? I don't want you stressing out about pairings. I'm going to probably have a whole separate video on just wine pairings in general, that, and why I think they're, why we don't have to always talk about wine and then automatically go to food pairings. Now, yeah, I typically do that when we're talking about wines, and I like to recommend like what foods are ideal with wines, but I don't want you stressing out about those. Other than some, basic fundamentals, right? There's, you shouldn't be overly stressed about, pairing a wine with your food. Now, if you're ordering scallops, I would, you don't want a giant Cabernet Sauvignon, because that tends to murder a scallop. But, more or less everything else, the other things about pairings you don't have to stress out about. I think the last thing, number 5, is I'm imagine like me, whether I was at a dinner just that I'm paying for myself, or whether I'm at a business dinner with a whole bunch of other folks, clients, other folks from the office, there's probably a budget involved, right? I tend to, when I was out, at wine at client dinners, when I probably could have pushed the envelope a little bit, I tended to observe sort of a $125 and under price point as something, there's just that ceiling where I didn't want to go over. And usually there are plenty of wines between $60 and $100 on a list that you can get without breaking the bank. But a lot of times you don't want to advertise what your budget is, right? You don't want to be talking out loud in front of your clients and be like, listen, I want some really good wines, but I don't want to spend more than $75 a bottle, or let's try to keep it under $75 a bottle. So kind of a cagey way of making sure that your budget is being observed is you can point to a wine on the list. You can kind of say, so here's my list. Here's a wine that says, it says $125, right? Even if it's not the wine that you want, you could talk to the server and be like, we're looking for, some bold red wines somewhere around this, not exceeding this price point, or right around in this range, right? And that's a, just a more subtle way of making sure that your budget is observed by the by the wait staff or by the sommelier. Now, I've had plenty of times where I've said that and they're like, oh, I've got this great bottle and it's like $190. I'm like, no, I'm not going there, right? And then don't be afraid to reiterate that you do have a budget that you're working for, and here's where you want to be. That's what I've got to kick off this series. My next video will just to be about the etiquette after the bottle gets here, and then in subsequent videos I'm going to take you through my my strategies for ordering wine at different types of restaurants. So we will, so you won't have to stress out about this stuff at all. I hope you like this video. Comment below if you want to see anything specific about wine list navigation and ordering wine in a restaurant, and I'll do my best to cover it. Cheers, folks. Hey, here are 5 things that you just need to, here are 5 simple things to make your next